Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast. I'm Matt alongside my brother Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
Great. Excited that football's back tonight. We got week one and the Browns on Sunday.
Yeah, big game tonight, featuring hopefully two teams that we could face in the playoffs. Or I don't know about saying hopefully because they're definitely good teams, but at least we'd be in the playoffs if we're facing one of them then. But division foe Baltimore Ravens taking on the two-time defending Super Bowl champs Kansas City Chiefs. So yeah, definitely a fun game for any football fan to watch. But we're definitely going to focus on the Browns and to give you an update on what's going on with them, and we're going to go through week by week with our predictions on wins and losses and what that would mean for a potential playoff run. So Nick, what's the latest on the Browns? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I'm very, uh, you know, everyone, of course, wants to see, especially Deshaun Watson, to see what he can do. This is his third year as a Browns starting quarterback, and with the injuries and setbacks he's had since joining this franchise, there's still a lot of question marks about is he going to be available, and if he is available, will he have good numbers like he did in Houston? A lot of fans say we need 2020 Deshaun. I don't think you need that anymore. With the good defense the Browns have and defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, uh, Miles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and all those players, you need Deshaun to just take care of the football and stay on the field. And with that and a good defense and 8 home games and a good crowd, you should be fine.
Yeah, I agree that they have a good enough defense where Deshaun doesn't have to be too amazing. Although I don't know if that means that they can win the Super Bowl without top tier quarterback play, but they could be able to win a game or two in the playoffs potentially at least. Also with talent like Nick Chubb, hopefully, obviously we know he's coming off injury. We don't know exactly how he's going to look, but so there's definitely room for optimism, but a lot has to go right. But yeah, definitely, I think Deshaun just being slightly better than average, many fans at least would probably take that, especially with this defense, and ultimately all that matters, even if the quarterback play isn't great, is whether or not we're getting wins and losses. And we saw with what 5 starting quarterbacks last year, we had a great fun season. Now it didn't end ultimately where we wanted it to end or how we wanted it to end, but I agree that just he doesn't have to play at this elite level for the Browns to have success.
And one more point before we jump to schedule. Uh, as every Browns fan knows, the last big splash the Browns made in the playoffs was, when I say big splash, I mean a good chance at going far, was Baker Mayfield and the Browns losing to the Chiefs in 2020 uh, divisional round. And I'm just curious if you know what's what's the what are fans looking for? If Deshaun can't match or beat that, you know, get to the division round or championship round, are what are fans going to think of him?
Yeah, good question. I think ultimately it by that point it might be more than just wins and losses. It's how does he look, and are they winning or losing in spite of him, or is he putting up big numbers and the team, the defense drops off, or the team around him just isn't playing great. So I think by then that would change how we view him. But certainly, yeah, good question to ask. I guess we'll wait and see. So let's kind of go week by week, and we each have our predictions for win losses each week. So we're going to go through one by one and have a final record and what that means for playoff position and how they could go from there. So Nick, all right, week one hosting Dallas, afternoon game. What do you got?
I have the Browns winning this game. They were very successful at home. I know Dak Prescott is uh maybe not by all, but most fans viewed as a elite quarterback. Um, he's got his number one receiver, CeeDee Lamb. Cooper used to be with the Cowboys, as we all know, but he's with the Browns on our side. Um, but with the way everyone's been talking offense, with the way our defense played at home last season, and having Jim Schwartz back for a second straight year, along with Stefanski still calling plays. I think the crowd is going to make it very tough on Dak and the Cowboys, you know, offense and defense.
Yeah, I actually have them losing this game, and I don't enjoy saying that. I certainly want them to win, but Dallas, they always seem to have really good starts. 8-0, 9-0, 10-0 seasons. I'm sure I'm exaggerating a little bit, but they always tend to get off to hot starts. It seems. I agree. Dak is a very solid quarterback, if not elite. They have weapons like CeeDee Lamb on offense as well as Dak. Micah Parsons on defense is very good. Now, of course, we have Myles Garrett, and I agree. Amari Cooper's a weapon, and both teams have more than just those. Um, the Browns definitely can win. I just, unfortunately, I see them coming away with a loss in this one.
Week two, Cleveland travels to Jacksonville and they'll take on uh and I think they're gonna come away with a win and start off 2-0.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're gonna come off with the win. Jacksonville kind of took a slight step back last year. But I think the Browns can take care of business there.
In the third week, they come back home and play the New York Giants. I see Cleveland again winning, so that'll be a 3-0 start for me, which would be really be something. So, what do you have in week three hosting the Giants?
Yeah, I think that's a win. I don't think the Giants are, where they want to be, and I think the Browns take care of business, especially at home against that team.
Then the Browns travel to Vegas to take on the Raiders. That is where I see them taking their first loss. You're not going to win every game. Fans may on paper say, it's the Raiders. They, you know, they're not as solid as the Browns, but I can't write a perfect record for the Browns. So that's where I throw in my first loss coming week four. Week five, they
Well, I
excuse
think,
me.
yeah, that this one was a tough one for me. And I could certainly see it going the other way as well, but I have the Browns winning this one. I just think overall we're a better team. Playing in Vegas makes it tough, but I think the Browns walk away with a win in that one.
Week five at Washington Commanders, I am gonna put a second consecutive loss. I do want to point out, while it's no guarantee, this is the part of the year where the Browns are expecting to see the return of Nick Chubb. We all know what happened to Nick in week two at Pittsburgh, very early in the game. Very devastating injury that he also suffered in college, and he didn't even find the end zone once last year.
Yeah, I have the Browns winning this one. Again, I know it's a road game, but they're going to be going. They should be going against a rookie quarterback at this point that Washington drafted. Um, Again, I think the Browns take care of business in that one.
At Philadelphia Eagles in week six, I have the Browns kind of like some surprise losses every now and then. I have this as a surprise win. I think the Browns defense can take care of Jalen Hurts, and uh, Deshaun can have a strong game, limit turnovers, and uh, if Garrett can have a nasty game on defense, maybe a couple sacks, the Browns can stick with Hurts and uh, get the job done.
Yeah, this is, so I had 4 straight wins for the Browns coming in this game, but now I have a loss. Philadelphia is a tough environment, very tough team, and another one of those teams that always seems to kind of get off the hot starts as of late. So, but obviously that doesn't guarantee that it happens in the future, but unfortunately I have the Browns taking the L that week, but at least it's an NFC opponent.
Then the Browns host the Cincinnati Bengals, a division rival, and a couple reasons why I picked the Browns winning this game. Lately, they've kind of had the Bengals number, and Burrow is returning from injury, and who knows what he would be like at this midpoint of the season. So I got the Browns winning their first division opponent.
Yeah, I do as well. They're home. They have their number lately, as you said. But I definitely like the Browns in this one.
And then facing the Ravens, it's Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP. They've got uh Huntley, what's that running back? Derrick Henry as a running back now. I can't imagine what they'd be scheming up to run against our defense. I don't see the Browns beating Baltimore, uh, even if it's in Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't either. Again, like you said, being a home game, I expect. Well, I shouldn't say expect. I think the Browns unfortunately lose this one. All right. After that, they're gonna host the Chargers at home. Nick, who do you have?
I'd have the Chargers winning this game.
Yeah, I do as well. New coach, as we know, Harbaugh. And they got a good quarterback as well, a lot of good pieces. It seems like the Browns have struggled against the Chargers for years now. I'd have to check the numbers, but you know, they're gonna be a tough opponent. They're in a tough division, so if they want to make the playoffs, they could be a wild card team, very likely. If not, they're gonna definitely want to win games against AFC opponents, as the Browns will, of course, as well. But I take this as a loss.
At New Orleans, I have the Cleveland Browns winning. Um, you know, Gardner Minshew, I believe is their QB.
I think he is with Vegas now. Let's
Oh,
see.
I know Carr's gone, but it's a lesser name, and if Chubb and Watson are at the top level of their game, and we know how tough the Browns defense can be, I can see them going down there and uh taking a win against the Saints.
Actually, they do have Carr. It looks like, and I want to say they drafted Spencer Rattler this year, but yeah, Carr can be formidable. But I do have the Browns winning that one as well. Um, New Orleans, that they could certainly surprise you, but I have the Browns winning.
Next, home division matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Uh, I have the Browns winning this game. So, what do you have?
Yeah, I do as well, and a lot of that has to do with them being at home, but I think the Browns are just an overall better team. Pittsburgh is certainly well coached, very well coached. They always play the Browns tough, it seems. But yeah, I have the Browns winning.
Next, they go on the road to take on the Denver Broncos. I don't have Browns winning this game. They they just Mile High City, whatever it is, they just don't have good luck out there. So I'm gonna look at it that way, and that's why, even though it's not a good way to look at it, that's why I gave them the L. They just don't play well out there.
Yeah, this was a tough one for me as well. Kind of late in the year. It's a very tough crowd, tough atmosphere, literally. And like you said, the Browns haven't had a whole lot of recent success there, but I have them with at least in my mind, a surprise win. I don't think Denver is as talented as the Browns. Again, they're a team that's well coached too, but I have the Browns winning that one.
And then uh the two-time defending Super Bowl champs and Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce come to
No, we go to Pittsburgh the following
my
week. So
mistake. We travel to Pittsburgh and take on the Steelers. I have them splitting and losing the second matchup against the Steelers. So what do you have?
yeah, I agree. Tough environment. Another one of those places where the Browns don't seem to win all that often, although they've had some success recently, not a ton, but yeah, I have the Browns losing. Again, Pittsburgh is well enough coached well enough, and who knows, Russell could be having a good season.
Yeah, I think Russell will might actually be a surprise, especially, but you never know with this tough division. And then the following week is when we move on to the home game against the Chiefs. You know, everyone knows the names: Mahomes, Kelsey, tight end, and two-time Super Bowl champions. I don't see the Browns winning this game. And honestly, the truth behind me giving the Browns a win against Philly, you know, those are two recent Super Bowl matchups, so I kind of split the difference. What do you have?
Yeah, like you said, two-time repeat, right? Yeah, back-to-back champs coming in here. The Browns have fought them tough in recent years, but they haven't had much success. It's hard to go against arguably the best player, at least in the past, what, 5 years or so, or around that time with Pat Mahomes. Well coached team, well balanced team, tons of weapons on offense, and probably an underrated defense. Unfortunately, I think the Browns lose that one.
And then the Browns go to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Uh, Joe Burrow, very tough at home. I have the Browns winning game two against the Bengals, aka the season series, whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah, night game, sure to be a really fun, good environment. The Browns actually, again, going back to recent success, have done well against Cincinnati in these night games, it seems. I do have them losing though. Cincinnati's a good team. They've had kind of a rough couple of years with injuries. If they're healthy, I expect them to be tough, especially at home down the stretch. So I have the Browns taking the L there for their third straight loss, in my opinion.
and then the second last week of the year, week 17, Miami comes to Cleveland and Odell, Tyreek Hill. You never know with Odell health wise, but then of course their quarterback Tua, very talented when healthy, of course. And I have the Browns uh coming out on top against Miami.
Yeah, this another tough one for me because I think Miami is a very good team. They're well coached as well. They have tons of weapons, especially on offense. Um, but I think the Browns, after, in my opinion, hitting a potential rough patch of three straight losses coming into this game, they're going to bounce back and get the win. I think the Browns, I like to think that they're going to win a nice snowy, cold night that Miami players might not be so used to, and bounce back and get a really important win.
And finally, they finish off the year with division matchup at Baltimore, and
Yeah, sorry, I want to just jump in real quick. All right, last week of the season, Nick, coming into this game, we each have them at what, 9-7
yes,
coming into this. So this game is going to be really important. Pretty much win or go home. Obviously, we don't know
especially
exactly how it shakes out.
especially division matchup.
Division matchup. So with a win in this game, I think there's hope that they make the playoffs, and then with a loss, probably 100 things would have to go right for them to make the playoffs. So, Nick, pressure's on you. What do you have, win or loss? Do they go to the playoffs or not?
No, unfortunately, we all want the Browns to find success home or away, and especially in your division. Uh, but Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP, he nearly reached his first Super Bowl last year. But Mahomes was able to keep him down, and uh, you'll see that matchup, that rematch tonight, the Chiefs and Ravens. But I see the Browns, even if they're mostly healthy, at QB, running back, wide out, tight end, to come up short. I think it would be a close game. I don't think they would get blown out, but being on the road, I gotta say the Browns would fall short.
Yeah, unfortunately I agree. I think the Browns lose. We don't have a time for that game yet, but I imagine Baltimore, again, they're gonna be one of the favorite teams to make the, if not be the first seed, definitely a top 2 or 3 seed, I would argue in the AFC. Like you said, two-time MVP Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Very well could be a primetime game. Who knows? And they could be fighting for that 1 seed, and we know how important that is for teams, or at least teams like to get that bye to rest up. I know there's a debate of whether or not that actually helps, but unfortunately, I have the Browns losing that, ending with 9-8, and very likely missing the playoffs. So, Nick, overall AFC North picture, ballpark, where do you have them finishing? Clearly not first, but
I have the Browns finishing third. I would have to say Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
yeah, that's exactly what I have them too. And we didn't discuss this beforehand. I think it would make for better content if we had different answers, but we're giving you our honest opinions, and we always hope to bring that to you. So, look, Browns, you can prove us wrong. There's a lot of uncertainty, and some of these losses, it can very well be wins. I don't think, with few exceptions, none of these teams are really head and shoulders better. Even Kansas City, Kansas City and Baltimore, you've shown that you can beat Baltimore in Baltimore last year. So that's certainly possible, and we hope that they can do better than 98. But I think I saw that they might have the hardest schedule in the NFL, at least based on last year's records. And with so much uncertainty around this team coming off injuries, important to important positions, offensive lineman, quarterback, running back, and plenty of others. Unfortunately, I don't see them having a great season. A good season at 98, but not great.
Yeah, and I gotta think, by looking through the schedule, the four toughest games I see, five actually, if you consider a division opponent. Uh, the four toughest opponents slash five toughest games, I'd have to say, Ravens twice, Chargers, Chiefs, and Eagles. So that's 5 games. You you want to win every game, home and away, division especially. But those are the 5 games I'm really gonna keep my eye on, and that I think could decide their season. Those 5 games: two Baltimore, Chiefs, and Eagles, and Chargers. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, tons of. Not that you're wrong necessarily, but you left Cincinnati off that list, and did you leave Miami too? It just goes to show how tough their schedule is. That they got two, even though we think that they could at least split against Cincinnati. Um, let's see, I had them winning first time, and you had them.
I have them beating them
Yeah,
twice.
you have them winning twice. I have them splitting. So, um, look, it's a tough schedule. There's so many unknowns. The AFC seems especially tough. But look, hopefully they can prove us wrong, and especially for me, who has them losing week 1, go out and get a win and start on a positive note, and that can, really make a difference. One game that we think is a loss that goes the other way could certainly make a difference. So let's hope we're wrong, and we definitely love to to tell you that we were wrong at the end of the season on, a future podcast sometime in February, or, maybe January, but, Nick, anything else?
One final point, you know, while this may be obvious to fans, a lot of this, you say this every year with QBs, a lot of this rests on Deshaun Watson. He has not been available due to injury and other circumstances. So it's going to be up to him to be a leader on the field, off the field, play well, home and away. I, you know, I know uh, it's talked about with any all the time, but he needs to be the top QB. Like, just we had 5 QBs play last year. We we need his very best. This is his 3rd year, and a lot of fans are saying, you know, proving no more messing around. You got to prove it now.
Yeah, I agree. So, hey, well, again, we have them both at 9 and 8. We hope we're wrong, and our plan is to bring weekly recaps, but we don't know if we can for sure do that as our schedules permit, but that would be the hope. So please check back, week by week, and we'll at least try and bring updates on a regular basis, if not week by week, throughout the season. So thank you everyone for listening. You have been listening to the Cleveland Sports Pros podcast.